Introduce our speaker, and she'll introduce the rest of her team. But Janell Folkerts is a member of our Focus Suites. She's been with us for over a year now. And I'll let her tell you about TAGG, which stands for Together, a Greater Good. Please make it work.
All right, thanks, Steve. Like Steve said, I have an office here in the Focus Suites, Janell Folkerts Consulting, and one of the businesses I partner with is TAGG. And so I'm going to actually let the founders of TAGG tell you a little bit more about the business and how it works. But I serve as the Lincoln representative, so if anybody has any further questions about TAGG, or you know of any businesses here in Lincoln that would be interested in TAGG, I would love to visit with them. So with that, I'm going to introduce Holly Baker and Leslie Fisher, and again, they are the founders of TAGG, and so I'm going to let them talk a little bit more about the business and how they got started.
Is it weird if we sit or should we stand? Okay. If you want us to stand, we will. Feel weird with chairs. So my name's Leslie Fisher and this is Holly, and we started TAGG, as we say, our last official paycheck was like 2012. So we've been doing this for a while. And really, we started TAGG because we wanted to leave a legacy of something greater than what we were kind of doing. I've always had an entrepreneurial spirit, and had my third kid as a kind of surprise baby, and decided that I wanted to start my own business. And Holly and I had worked together at a company called giftcertificates.com. We're from Omaha, and kind of reached back out and said, hey, horrible timing with just having a baby, but why not start a business, right? And what's kind of crazy about our story is most people have an idea and then they kind of go down the path. We didn't have the idea, we just knew we wanted to kind of do something on our own. So being home with a baby on maternity leave, I was coming up with ideas all day while she was working. And at the time was right when all spring was hitting. It was kind of end of school. Baseball teams, Boy Scouts, all that are starting to come to your door asking for money. And they're cute little kids that you can't say no to, but you really don't want to pay what they're asking. And so as moms, we were both suckers, and both of our husbands were like, why are you paying for that? Just say no, shut the door. And I was like, well, you go to the door then, because I can't say no, these are my neighbors. And at the same time, Groupon, are you familiar with Groupon? They actually were just coming on the scene. They weren't even an app yet, they were a website. And at the time, people couldn't wait to get their daily email to see what the Groupon was going to be, because the best places around town were really on Groupon, and it was kind of an interesting time. It's interesting to kind of watch how they've evolved as well. So we kind of had this idea with merging the Groupon concept with giving back and supporting local causes. So fast forward, so we did handouts. We originally thought there would be a PowerPoint slide, so you guys are getting what we made because we put work into it. Fast forward to 2000, so we launched TAGG as a voucher system in 2012, and then we ran out of money. We bootstrapped it for 2 years, ran out of money, went and found an investor and pitched moving to a mobile app. And so, as you can see kind of on this slide, we're now a mobile app, so we are on the App Store and also on Google Play. And we started in Omaha, and we are now growing into Lincoln. Our goal is to be regional in the next 2 years. And really, it's the easiest way to give back. We have 350 local businesses on TAGG in Nebraska, Council Bluffs, and you simply go in, you take a picture of your receipt, and they give back 5% to your favorite charity. So you can choose a nonprofit, you can choose your kid's school, your kid's youth sports team, you know, whatever it is. So that's kind of page 2. How it works is you simply download the app, it's free. My dad is 70, 100% Italian, 0 patience, and if he can get through this app, anybody can get through this app. He was my beta tester, because if he can do it, literally anybody can do it. And all you do is snap a picture of your receipt and you choose which nonprofit it is that you kind of want to support. So we have tons of different categories. In Omaha, we've been there on the app, a little over 3 years. So we have more, but we're growing into Lincoln, and Janell's been helping us do that. We have restaurants. At the very back of all your pages, you can see the Lincoln restaurants that we have on, businesses, and then also the solely Lincoln organizations. We have a lot that kind of serve the entire state, but we put on just the ones that are strictly in Lincoln for today. You want to take it from here?
Okay. So yeah, like Leslie said, there's over 50 business categories, so we really, we're just getting started in Lincoln, but in Omaha, we'd like to say you can tag almost anything. So you can tag a new roof, we have realtors on there, mortgage loans, dry cleaning, obviously a lot of food and drink. We have insurance providers on there, so really a lot of the community services are coming together for this easy way of giving. So these businesses are empowering their customers to choose who they donate to is really why they're happy to get involved. And so today since we launched the app in 2015, the beginning of 2015, there's been 5 million in purchases that have gone through the app, and it's resulted in just over $200,000. So, when you're going out to eat and, you spend $50, that $250 donation might not seem like a lot, but it's really starting to add up if you just try to make it part of your routine as you're out and about choosing who to do business with. On page 3, it shows you some of the businesses that we work with in the Omaha area, and then a lot of the nonprofits that we support. And you'll notice there's public schools, there's Catholic schools, traditional nonprofit organizations, and then we also work with youth sports organizations too, so you can support your kids' activities. And so really what's in it for the different parties, our name is Together a Greater Good, because we really want to bring 3 different parties together for mutual benefit. And for businesses, we've learned from working with TAGG that businesses really are charitable minded. They want to do their part, but they can't give to everyone. A lot of businesses, we found that they have a certain budget and they will give so much for the year, and then by March their budget's used up and they have to say no to everybody else. But this way, if they partner with TAGG, they know that if they're giving out a donation, they're having a paying customer tied to that donation, so it lets their donation dollars go a little bit further. For the nonprofit side or the school side, it's a way for their supporters to support them without asking for them to spend their own money. So, they still have their regular donors, but for the people who may not be able to financially support, they can receive financial support through TAGG. So it just grows their supporter list. And then for people, it's kind of a no-brainer, we like to say, for the people, because it might take you a minute out of your routine, but you're not actually spending your own money, but you get to support who you care about. So people like to look at their app on their My TAGG page and say, oh my gosh, I've raised $100 for this nonprofit, where otherwise I wouldn't have. So let's see. On page 6, it kind of gives you a real life example of how quickly the impact can grow. We have a family of 4, and then we have an individual person, and just by doing lunches out, they might get an oil change in their car, drop off their dry cleaning, just things that you're doing on a daily basis. You might throw a birthday party, get a haircut, go on a date night, and just like that, you raised $112. Single person might actually make a bigger impact because you're not tied down as much with kids' activities, things like that. So this individual raised $140 in the year. So no matter who you are, you can make an impact.
So the slide above, just before we go up the little dots, one of the biggest things we've seen with nonprofits are they are so technology laggards. Without sounding rude, it's just how it is. I mean, they don't have a ton of funds to go invest in technology. And millennials are just so different than baby boomers and how they give. I mean, it could not be more different. My parents, they gave to the same organization and their church, and they never deviated. If you go talk to Lincoln Gives or Omaha Gives and you're talking to millennials, they're donating $100, but $10 is going to 10 charities. It's very different. And if you look at Starbucks and Smoothie Kings and juice stops, they are filled with millennials that are going there every day, that if you said, do you have $25 to donate, they would say no, but they would spend $6 on a latte every day. So it's a mental shift that we're really trying to educate nonprofits about, that millennials especially, so that's kind of this dotted piece up here, is getting millennials to give by giving back. They're very passionate. Millennials have way more access to what's going on in the world than I ever did. My best friend moved to a long distance phone number, and I could never talk to her again because my father was not going to pay for long distance. Find new friends was what I think he told me. So it's just how times have changed. So we're really trying to kind of educate, the nonprofits. I know they're really, they know who their major donors are, they know who their regular givers are, but there's a lot of millennials that are very passionate about supporting and doing social good. They're just going to do it in a different way. And so TAGG has really helped kind of be a feeder for them to start that relationship with those new donors.
All right. On slide 7, we also work with, it shows you we also work with workplaces. So a lot of workplaces in Omaha, and we'd like to find similar workplaces in Lincoln. They have some of them have an actual built-in nonprofit, or they have, a committee that they raise money through, and then they give it to local charities, usually voted by their employees. And so those workplaces are thinking beyond just the normal everyday type tag purchases, and they're tagging their catered meals into their workplaces, employee appreciation events, promotional products with their logo on it. We have all those kind of things on TAGG too. We have printers, promotional signage. We have an awards company on, we even have accounting and IT. So anything that a workplace needs also, and then that also results in larger purchases. So instead of $20 purchases, those are making a larger impact faster. And on the right-hand side, some of the larger purchases that a few of them I touched on earlier, but home improvements, pet boarding, yes, again, back to the financial services too. So next few slides just kind of shows you how quickly the money can add up. If you had 20 people tagging for you, 100, 500, or even 1,500. And then we just end with, we do have marketing toolkits for all the businesses that we work with and all the organizations, so that we help make it easier for you to promote it to your supporter base, and then for businesses also make it easy for you to let your customers know that you give back through TAGG, so you can maximize your benefit. What else? Okay.
So another feature with our app too is that once you take a picture of the receipt and you donate, you have the option to share that on social media, on your Facebook or Twitter. So when I've talked with businesses, they really like that feature because, they're all trying to find space in the social media world, and you can pay for ads, but anymore it's still very limited who's going to see those. But if someone talks about, I went to this business and they were awesome, that organic social media, more people tend to see that, and it's just more actual proof when you have a friend post something and they're giving and they like it or they like the business. So that's another way that we're really helping. I mean, both promote awareness for the business, but also the organization. So it'll say, Janell was at Blue Blood Brewery, and she tagged her purchase to donate to Men with Dreams. And so I know I've seen my friends tag purchases, and I go, well, what is that nonprofit? And then I go check it out, and I learn more about that nonprofit. So that's just been a really popular feature of the app as well. Questions?
Hey. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So your one of the businesses looking for that end of the track. You're looking for
Nonprofits and businesses to both get onto the app.
to tag to 5% that you go to the not-for-profit.
Yes.
What's the vetting process to, obviously the business is kind of easy, but as far as determining where that donation, if that's the correct term, goes, what's your vetting process to, or criteria as you look at to choose a non-for-profit?
Do you mean for us to allow the organization to be on TAGG, or do you mean as a,
Yeah,
okay.
what's the process as you go to?
So, kind of it's twofold. One, we do have some guidelines that we've established as we gotten kind of going. We don't work with any political parties. We don't work with anything that's politically charged, so NRA, Planned Parenthood, those kind of things. We say we just try to stay vanilla. It's hard when you're managing, we have 750 nonprofits on TAGG, and we have 350 businesses, and so there's a lot of opinions. We have people very liberal, we have people very conservative, we have everything in between. So we've just really we look at it from every perspective of, would, Blue Sushi be okay representing, all these organizations, and would all these organizations be okay, so like we don't work with like a tobacco hut, we don't work with, we do have a few bars on, but they're foods, it's not this like creepy dive. But we on both sides really just try to stay vanilla. For the 501c3s, the nonprofits, they have to be a 501c3. Schools, we let on pretty much any school as long as we can verify their address and that kind of stuff as we're growing. And then youth sports, we will only bring on if they have centralized accounting. So it doesn't go to somebody's home. It's not, we don't work with any personal people at this point, unfortunately, just because it's too hard. We've tried, we actually partnered with a company, but there's just so many other options for them that we've just chosen to say, if somebody has cancer, we are so sorry, but
Sure.
go to Red Basket or GoFundMe or something like that.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, I'm maybe behind a little bit, but,
Yeah.
Okay, so you did not explain at the beginning exactly how it works, so where does the money go? Who gets
Who gets the money?
The donation money?
So when you use the app and you say you're at Blue Sushi and you spent $100, so they take a picture of your receipt so we can verify you spent that money, and then you choose, Men with Dreams.
You pick the charity.
You pick the charity.
Ah, okay, so I missed that.
Yep.
I haven't read this.
No, that's
So
okay.
it's like, yeah.
And then Holly
Okay,
bills
okay,
the
yeah.
business, and then we collect the money and then we redistribute to the nonprofits.
How many different things do you have to choose from? I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but if I have 5 choices, and it's fine, but I have 200, I have to sit and read them all before I decided where I'm gonna donate
Yeah.
my money. It's
So
not
we-
my money, but.
Right,
it's my
so
money.
we do have an organization button that you can search. We're actually working on a complete overhaul of our app that'll be a little more intuitive. So you're not scrolling through 750, but,
So we kinda need to have somebody in mind.
yes.
Before you start using
Yes.
it, right?
Or a lot of people check it out. We do have people that have, 5 or 10 organizations they support. So they kind of,
And then it gets split then?
no, each time you tag for a different one.
Okay.
We were going to split But then if you're getting coffee and it's 13 cents,
Yeah.
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 And-
Holly would kill me, she would
and
quit.
in the app, like the organizations you donate to the most, it pulls them up to the top of the list. So so I don't have to scroll every time. So like the top 5 I give to, it's just right there.
Yeah, okay.
And people do like choosing a different one every time. We were surprised by that, but I do a couple nonprofits and my kids at school.
Spread the,
Yeah. So I like going back and forth, yeah.
I have 2 questions for you. You just said something that caught my ear with saying you were surprised by that.
Yeah.
So I know as we build our businesses, we always make certain assumptions. And so I'm curious to know what some of the assumptions that maybe you started out with, that on this back end of the journey.
How long?
I was way off on that. The other thing that you said earlier that I'm curious about is you talked about moving from bootstrapping into bringing on an investor. And so I know from a philosophical perspective that that's a tremendous shift, and I wonder if you might talk about that a little bit as well.
Lots of missed assumptions. We try not to assume anymore. I think the biggest one was we just thought the nonprofit and the school that we're like, this is just such a great tool. They're just gonna promote it all the time, they'll just do all the marketing for it, like they'll get all the users for us or whatever. But it's just it's such a new tool, so they obviously can't rely on it and put resources towards promoting it until it's starting to make an impact. And so I think that's been one of the biggest things. It's like we really have a 3-sided business. We have to find businesses, we have to find nonprofits, and we have to find users. And so it's with a lean team and limited resources, how do you grow with, what do you do first? And so then they're definitely starting to promote it more and more, but it's just kind of like they don't want to promote it until the business list is strong, and then the businesses don't want to become part of it until the organization list is strong. And so I think that has been one of the toughest things. For the investment part, our particular investor, we actually went to him to get advice to go seek investment. Somebody just introduced us to him, and he was just impressed by the fact that we did bootstrap it so long and weren't taking paychecks and doing, just what we were sacrificing on a personal level, that he kind of gave us an assignment before he could help us find other investors to pitch to. And then he was so impressed by what we had accomplished during that period of time that he just gave us an offer. So it was kind of an untraditional pitch to an investment. However, we did just go through our second round of investment. Invest Nebraska here in Lincoln just invested in us this past month, so that we can upgrade our app and be to a point where we can grow outside of Omaha and Lincoln. Everything will be on like near me functionality, so no matter where you are, you can find businesses easier. So yeah, I don't know, Shark Tank has always been my favorite show until you're kind of in that position. And it definitely comes with, more pressure, more people to answer to. So there's definitely the good and the bad, but we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for our investors, so.
Doris, you got another question?
Yeah, I have a 2-part question. I'm trying to think how to phrase this to make it most clear. Where do you make your money? So if say you've gathered $100 worth of donations, how much of that $100 goes to run your operation? And also, when you're talking about investors, that implies that you have to repay them. So are you taking enough from that $100 so that you can repay the investors and maybe get a small paycheck yourself?
So investors, there's 2 types of investors. The investors that we have all want us to basically grow and sell. And then as part of that sale, they make hopefully their money back times, a certain X percent is the goal. So he doesn't want dividends, he doesn't want to get paid back until like he's looking at the long-term strategy, which they're both pressure. Ours is like not an imminent pressure, whereas like you have to pay back money right away. I mean, that's more of like a loan. And most of the investors that we've met in this town are really kind of in it for the exit strategy. So I hope that answered the second question. And then the first question is, this was another thing, never assume, kind of with pricing strategies. We've changed our strategy a couple times in launching TAGG. When we very first started, we gave businesses a risk-free option, so that we only got paid if somebody tagged there. And our investor said, well, then you will be a nonprofit as well. And we've had 5 competitors come and launch and close since we've started TAGG, and they've all had that model. And it sounds good in theory because it's risk-free, but we provide so much marketing to our businesses that they need to kind of have some skin in the game. So our businesses do pay an annual fee to be on. It kind of varies based on number of locations. So the bigger you are, we kind of give discounts. We just got Jimmy John's 14 franchises on in Omaha, which was a huge win for us. That franchise owner just happens to be one of the most charitable people and really wanted to give back. And then we also retain 15% of whatever the organizations raise. And we didn't initially do that either, but we didn't realize how much money in time and actual fees the banks charge for distributing funds, getting their reports ready, that sort of thing. We provide yard signs for them to use. We have a bunch of marketing materials. So we didn't want to charge them anything up front that would not allow them to be a part of it. So we retain 15% on the back end. We're extremely transparent about our money. Our businesses see every tag in detail, so they know where the money is going. We do the same thing for nonprofits. There's so many places we feel like have, done things in the name of Jesus or in the name of philanthropy, and then you find out 10 years later they pocketed everything. So that's like our top value is transparency.
When the businesses receive the bill, like from Blue Sushi, the $5, that is tax deductible to the business?
Great question. Another assumption. So most businesses have a very limited amount that they can write off as a true tax deduction. It depends on, there's like a whole formula we didn't know. So we thought everybody's gonna love this, it's charity. That's not really true. Most of our businesses actually write us off as a marketing expense. Because it's unlimited, they are spending money to market, which makes...
And we're not a 501c3 and the funds are going
through us. So they're getting the records, but they're writing us off as basically like they would advertising. Does that make sense?
Are you open to suggestions of other businesses and other nonprofits?
Absolutely. That's an easy one.
We can talk afterwards.
I assume, again, this is an assumption, that your payments on the back end are all automated, so that at the end of the month, you have to write checks to every business, or the funds electronically transferred, to the charities, I mean.
Yeah, so we distribute funds to the charities once a quarter, and that is done electronically to their bank account. And we actually don't allow a nonprofit to go live until we have that information, so that that money is getting where it's supposed to go, not sitting with us. And then the bank side, they pay by credit card or bank account, their choice. And so and then we process those monthly. So in our hopes to collect the money before it's getting distributed to quarterly.
But we manually do all reports right now.
But yes, part of this second round of investment is to automate our accounting, because it takes about 1/4 of my time in a given month. And I get really crabby. It's a marketing person doing accounting. Yes.
So if this is categorized as a marketing expense for those businesses, how are you approaching the businesses to balance that economic incentive with the social good that's happening there?
Great question. So really, we tell businesses to take part for 2 reasons. Number one is we know they get bombarded with donation requests, and this allows them to have a streamlined answer, like we would love to support you. We do it through TAGG. We still want them to give directly to the few organizations they might care about, but they can send everybody else to TAGG. Like, I will support you 365 days a year, just send your supporters in. So that's one of the main reasons they donate, is the donation relief. And then secondly is the exposure. So they are constantly being, or consistently being promoted by TAGG, and then all the organizations that are pushing it to their supporters. And the loyal taggers, they really do make purchase decisions based on who's on TAGG. And so it's showing community goodwill, but also should be driving some new business in. And then also it gives your existing customers just that warm fuzzy feeling of like why they're reminding them why they're doing business with you. So it's a loyalty feature as well. And you can even, in the app, you can reward your loyal taggers. Within the app, it kind of has that feature built in. So if they spend $200, you can get your next sandwich free or something like that. They can add that within the app.
Do you sorry to follow up.
Yeah.
Do you find that how businesses kind of back off some of their philanthropic giving because they believe that this satisfies that criteria, or?
I mean, I think there's some. I think most of them still give to the ones that they're passionate about, but I think others have made TAGG their answer. And as long as they're doing enough through TAGG, I don't think there's anyone not successful through TAGG still relying on TAGG, if that makes sense. I think once they see that they're starting to make an impact with TAGG, then they might back off some other things.
The one thing I will say that has been,
For us, the biggest part that I've loved about TAGG personally is a lot of businesses make donation decisions from a marketing perspective, right? Like they're gonna give to the largest organizations donation requests because it's marketing, right? I mean, it's good, but it's marketing. And we have so many small nonprofits, Lincoln is no different, that if the business doesn't know who you are, they don't have time to research and you get a no or a no response. I mean, it's just how it is, it's business. And I feel like what we are doing is giving small nonprofits an equal platform to go get donations. So like one of our smallest startup nonprofits in Omaha is raising $2,500 a year unrestricted funds through TAGG, and they got every donation request that they asked for their first gala, they got declined almost all of them because they just didn't know who they were. And so the same for our businesses is they'll get the reports and be like, I don't even know who any of these people are. So it's interesting kind of, I think, for both their perspectives to kind of get educated.
Time for one more quick question.
I have a question. So when you purchase something, like say a Blue's Sushi, and your bill's $100, who determines the amount of money that goes towards that donation? I mean, you take a picture of the receipt and you send that in. Do you say, I want $10 or $20, or do you do a percentage of the bill? Who determines how much is given in donation?
So the business, when they sign up, since they're giving the donation, not the customer, the business decides that. And typically it's 5%. Some businesses, like Blue Sushi actually, for an example, they do cap their donation at $5 because they get so many. And that instead of having to have a budget and run out, they just cap at $5. Then we have roofers and things like that. They give a flat donation, like $500 or $250. Same with realtors, they'll just do a flat donation. So that's determined by the business.
Well, thank you all very much. As a thank you for being here today and supplying us with donuts, we'd like to give you each a Focus Suite mug, so I hope you'll take those with you. And with that, we'll do our drawing. Has anybody not had an opportunity to put their name in the coffee